I like reading books, but I also like talking about those books I read. And what better way to do that than to talk about the ideas and thoughts I have about them as I read them. So let's just do that. I'm gonna start reading Bartimius and Elantris, and so why not join me for the ride? Come on. Elantris is about a person named Serene. She is traveling from their continent or country of Teod to the country of Erelon. She's been married to Prince Raoden to create a treaty, essentially. But when she gets there, she finds that Prince Raoden was seriously died. But what we actually know from the beginning of the book is that Prince Raoden was not dead, but actually taken by a strange, not disease, but sort of a disease called the Shode. The Shode is this thing that randomly picks people, and they're sent to Elantris, which was once this pristine city where the people taken by the Shode were not considered dying, but actually gods. But suddenly 10 years ago, all of that changed, and the Shode, when it chooses people, they are weirdly dying. They're decaying almost. They feel pain, and their pain never goes away. And the book is good so far. I like it so far. Bartimius is about Bartimius and a boy named Nathaniel. Nathaniel is trained to be a magician. A magician is someone who summons imps and genies from the outer realms, essentially. This book has some fun magic things in it. For example, the magicians don't cast spells, or they do, but they don't always cast spells in the pure sense we think of them. A lot of their magic comes from summoning creatures to do the magic for them, or to do these things for them. Also, there's a fun thing where there's the idea of, there's the, 8 or whatever invisible planes. I'm not sure exactly how many there are, but the creatures can be sitting on different planes of existence, essentially, where it's all the same world, but it's more just different levels of visibility. So a genie could be on the 7th plane, but humans can't see into that 7th plane. So there's lots of fun things about that, about where things are sitting on different planes and things like that. It's just a little detail, but I kind of like it. Bartimius is also an interesting character. Bartimius is this crafty genie who's always trying to get out of what their masters want them to do, and I really like it so far. Bartimius, he is, very interesting to read. I like reading him. He's very entertaining, very funny. There's also lots of these snarky footnotes in there, which I think I'll talk about a little bit more later as we get farther into the book. One of the things I'm enjoying so far about Elantris is the political intrigue, you could say. I like all the different factions and groups that have to think about and outsmart each other in this sort of political game they've got going. So far there's 3 different stories going on at the same time, but they all intertwine. There are 2 of them that are mostly butting heads, but there's one that's slowly beginning to enter into their main plots, and so they're all intertwined at this point where I am. And it's very fun to see all these different groups trying to outsmart each other and find different ways of gaining an advantage over the other group, for example. There's a priest trying to take over this city, this country with their own religion. There's this other group trying to stop them from doing that, but also trying to make sure that the treaty they've made with another country is staying safe. And then there's another character who has been exiled to the city, and they are just trying to rebuild it and make something out of it instead of just, losing hope. And at this point, they're starting to intertwine, and all the characters have interacted with each other, whether they know it or not. And the plot lines are starting to converge. So I think it's really interesting so far. I also just finished Bartimius, and one of the things that stuck out about this book was the clever use of footnotes. So a lot of the time when I see a book with footnotes, I find I'm very suspicious. It'll be just used for bad exposition and clumsy information delivery, and usually it's information that we don't even need. This, however, did this in a clever way. There was information delivered, but a lot of the time it was delivered in the footnotes in a clever way. The footnotes were sort of a way of conveying character. And what I mean by that is that these footnotes were almost written as if one of the characters was analyzing what they were doing later on. They were saying, "Oh, I didn't really mean that," or they add funny little comments and things like that. And because this character is a very, snarky, sarcastic character, these comments are very fun, and they are in the form of footnotes, but they're entertaining to read, and so they're not boring. Overall, the book is, good, but that was one of the things that really stuck out for me, one of the things I really remember. Something else I'm particularly enjoying Elantris for is how that I'm starting to notice some more connections to the Cosmere and the other works Brandon Sanderson has written. Not too many, because this is the first thing he published in the Cosmere, but there's a few that I'm like, oh, or at least I was inspired by this. Some of these things seem attached to Mistborn and some other things, and see some other connections there. And keep my eye out for more as I read. So I just finished Elantris today, and I really liked it. It was one of his first books, so I can see that, you know, he's improved a lot since then, but a lot of the concepts and ideas are really good and very uniquely Sanderson. One thing I did notice was that the climax, the way he writes his climaxes has changed, or at least I feel, in my opinion, improved. I feel like he's been able to make the climaxes in his books a little more intense, a little more on the edge of your seat. It was not necessarily relaxed in this one, especially near the end. It got a little less relaxed, but it was a little less, the pacing was a little wonky, but overall I really enjoyed a lot of the book. I liked the political battles between all the characters, and I thought that was really interesting. I mean, it's not the absolute favorite book, but I just kind of liked it, right? It's different, a little bit different. It's got more of that, like, there's some fun ideas, like the concepts, and a lot of the things introduced in it, right? So mostly, I just thought it was really good. A few little things, but overall, I especially like the ideas and concepts. That's mostly what I feel really interested in. I like the concept of Elantris and all that. The characters are really interesting. I find, like, Raoden and Galadin are particularly, I like those two. They're very fun. I love reading them. And yeah, Serene's also very clever. I love the dynamic between Serene and their other nobles. It's very fun. I thought a lot of the book was just very fun in general. Thank you for watching. This is a new type of video. I've never made a reading blog before, but if you enjoyed, thank you so much for watching. If you have any feedback, let me know. I want to make more of these, and I want to keep improving with every single one. Thank you so much for watching.